Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets with Karl Bryan. If you want to attract new high-end coaching clients, fill live events, and build a wildly profitable coaching practice where business owners pay, stay, and refer, you've come to the right place. In this podcast, Karl provides his keys to the kingdom for finding and signing high-paying clients and building the coaching business of your dreams. Here we go.
Welcome to another episode of Business Coaching Secrets, where we decode the art and science of building a thriving coaching business. Let's see what's in store today with none other than the legend himself, Karl Bryan, and of course, yours truly, the Road Dog. Shoots.
Yo. Road Dog, you're getting more and more formal every week, man. I'm good.
Yeah. It's all happening, bud. I guess it only took about, 500 episodes to...
Comment, dude. No comment. There you go. Perfect. Finally getting it. I haven't got it, so let me know how it goes as you work it out, Shoots.
No, the only thing you've got is this horrible cough. I don't know what's going on with you.
Buddy. I told you after the podcast last week, it started, man. Halfway through, I was like, oh my God, what is happening to my body right now? I've had a rough week. I got to pride myself, like many out there, pride myself on not being the sick dude, but I've had a hell of a week, man. I'll give you the red hot tip, but that's okay. So we soldier on, my brother. I will.
Which, by the way, I guess would explain why you didn't take the quick trip up to see our good mutual friend in Miami this week.
No, I did not.
No matter how relentless he was being on the messaging thread, you stuck to your guns.
Yeah, it's for everybody listening. If you haven't been to South Beach, Miami, oh my God, South Beach, it is something to see. So anyways, that's where our buddy was, and the Huntsy, the legend himself, but not happening. So anyways.
Well, there you are, bud. There you are. Hey, listen, kind of a weird segue, because you and I were kind of talking before the show, and you talked about the two rules, and I actually thought really good stuff that, like, let's bring it onto the podcast. And not just, save it for the pre-show, but can you explain the two rules, please? And I guess maybe tell the folks what they are, and then kind of go into some detail, because I thought they're excellent.
Yeah, you beauty. Okay, good call. And I agree. Okay, so it stems from, here's the genesis of it. What you would have heard Warren Buffett says he's got two rules of investing, and as you listen to this, what are they? Hopefully you know, by the way, and if you don't, you should. So the two rules of investing, the one and only Warren Buffett. Rule number one, don't lose money. Rule number two, see rule number one. Now, most people hear that and they think of it as like a throwaway line. That's the way he's like, don't lose money, right? Let me tell you, that is a guiding principle. And we talked about it last week, what his net worth, whatever he's worth, $150 billion, let's say, hypothetically, an insane number, right? Insane number for an individual to be worth that kind of money. So basically it's working pretty well. Let's put it that way. But again, investing, bunch of rules, a bunch of reasons around it, some of which are painfully obvious, many of others that are not. Bottom line is, don't lose money when you're investing, the end. So that said, so I created two rules. I don't know that I created them, but I got to tell you, I don't know that I've seen anybody else talking about this. Maybe I have, can't remember. The bottom line is that there's only two rules of business. What are they? Rule number one, get a client. Rule number two, keep clients. That's it. Rule number one, get clients. Rule number two, keep clients. It's that simple. That is Amazon. That is Tesla, that's Ford, that's Coke, that's Pepsi, that's the digital marketing agency, that's the business coach, it's the landscaper, it's the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker. It's all you got to do. And then, by the way, so then there's two rules of coaching. which if you're a fan of the podcast, you're going to know this one. You could probably say them for us, but I don't think I've been delivering them, calling them rules, right? I mean, just, 2 points. But rule number one is, where are you? Rule number one is establish your destination, establish your little red arrow. You are here. And then rule number two is establish your point of destination. Am I saying that well? I don't think so. End of the day, where are you? Where do you want to go? That's it. Okay. 2 rules of coaching. Establish those 2 points. And basically the coaching is the line in between, which, by the way, truthfully, I think there needs to be a third rule of coaching. And I think that would be, why do you want to get there? Right. So rule number 1, where are you? Rule number 2, where do you want to go? Rule number 3, why do you want to get there? Right. So I got to think that through. But at the end of the day, 2 rules. Where are you? Where do you want to go? The destination in between. That's how you know your ABC, your 1, 2, 3, the step-by-step process you're looking for. Which, by the way, though, very importantly, and what Road Dog and I were talking about, and what I think the takeaway for you, the most important, it's the rules of business. Get clients, keep clients, right? Knowing, it was Alan Sultanic, I believe, that I read this on Facebook, a very smart guy, unbelievable marketer. And he said that knowing who your clients grow into is knowing what your company needs to grow into. So knowing what your clients grow into allows you to understand what your company needs to grow into, right? So like with us, one of the things, like, we can help you find your fees up front. What does that do? That helps you get a client, right? So I built a profit acceleration simulator. I use marginal utility theory in the process of profit acceleration that we created, 12 specific areas. And those 12 specific areas are the exact same ones that Pepsi, Subway, McDonald's, and others are using to basically grow their businesses. There's 12 fundamentals. Real simple. McDonald's, just think, bundling is one of them. If you've ever been to McDonald's, they say, do you want a Happy Meal? Okay, that's bundling. Upsell, cross-sell. You ever been to McDonald's? They say, do you want fries with that? Do you want me to supersize that? Market dominating position. Most people don't know that McDonald's invented the word fast food, right? So fast food. And then they invented the drive-through, by the way. Okay, so anyway, so the 12 areas, I've gone over this at different times, may or may not be familiar, but feel comfortable that the 12 areas are the exact same 12 areas and, more to the point, fundamentals that any big company grew off of, right? Okay, so you find your fees up front, but now on the back end, now all of a sudden I can go and get you 10 clients. What's your new problem? What does your company grow into? What do you grow into? And that's somebody that needs to move into growth. Rule 2, and now you got to keep your clients. So we have got implementation steps that'll blow your mind in terms of, well, how do you raise prices? How do you cut costs effectively? How do you legitimately create a market dominating position that could legitimately help them dominate their local marketplace? How do you create a bundle, the equivalent of the Happy Meal, that's incredibly sexy and, like, brings people in en masse? Well, we've got all of those implementation steps and those, the step-by-step 4 levels deep in the implementation. We understood that we took, we've got coaches, and all of a sudden they meet us and they go, we need to get clients. And then they segue into, call it at 90 days. All of a sudden now they've got to keep those clients. So that allows us to understand what types of things that we need to create. So I built a coaching portal and group coaching software and a bunch of other tools to make sure that your existing clients stuck around for a long time. So to get clients, keep clients is kind of the magic of that. And hopefully that's making sense. 2 rules of business. What I really want you to take away is that it can be really, really easy for your clients when you dummy down their entire business to say, well, like a really good example of this is if I was assessing your P&L, you're a client's P&L, call it the landscaper, the butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, right? Call it a landscaper. When I went through their P&L, which basically an itemized list of their expenses. Okay, so forget any fancy accounting jargon. I'm going at their credit card statements, where I'm going through their P&L, the expenses, and the more itemized they are, which they're normally not very itemized, problem, the more itemized they are, the easier it is and the more value that I can bring. But the acid test is I look at an expense, say it's Road Dog's landscaping company. I would say, Road Dog, does this get you a client? And then I zip it and I let him answer. He says yes or no. I said, does it help you keep a client? He says yes or no. I zip it until he gives me the answer. And then if the answer is not yes to either of those, it's like, okay, can we do away with it? And the answer a good percentage of the time is yes. Think of the magazine subscription as an example. Like, is this really providing any value? Because remember, when your client's got 20% net margins and I earn them $1, they keep 20 cents. When I go to the magazine subscription and they're paying X amount per year, every dollar that I save them, they keep 100 cents, not 20 cents. They keep 100 cents. And if I'm $2,000 a month, 24 grand a year, and my MO, my mission operandi is to be able to, mission operandi is to basically find my fees and make myself a free resource as quickly as possible. Saving them some money is a better roadmap, but it's insanely less sexy. So it's Moneyball. It's Moneyball, ladies and gentlemen, for business, right? It's singles over home runs. Anyways, that's my answer shoots. Those are the two rules. And then I believe that there's, I'm playing with one around business models. I'm not going to bother you with it today, but that's what I got.
Nice. When you're talking there, just in terms of when you back it up, right? And you're just like, well, basically, where are you and where do you want to go? Where do you want to grow? I guess, right? When you're putting in that context, I guess the question really comes down to, is there? I'm trying to think of like how many coaches actually do that. And then when it comes to products and stuff like that, I'm just trying to think of like, if I'm positioning myself as a coach, is there like a best product, to help your client sell, I guess, right? Like if I'm coaching a business, you understand what I'm saying? Like I'm making a meal of this, but I'm sort of going point A to point B. Is there a best product to help them sell that, or just sell in general? Am I even using product? Is that even the correct thing to say?
Yeah. I think I know what you mean. And I'd look at, and so it's Christmas time coming, right? I got an 11-year-old daughter. Okay. And I'll tell you this, guess, like you could almost guess the things that she wants, right? She wants an iPhone. She wants a TikTok account. Like it's insanely predictable things that an 11-year-old would desire, right? None of which are happening, by the way. But like, so the best products, for me to sell, for you to sell, for your high-end coaching client to sell would be like, how am I going to word this? A product that they're not allowed to have. Okay. So just think when they ban a book, they ban a song, they ban an album, it 10x's in price, popularity, and value immediately, right? So the product they're not allowed to have, the product they can't have. Okay. So think of it's too pricey. It's out of their, it's the Ferrari, it's the Louis Vuitton bag, right? So the product they can't have, too pricey, limited supply, no matter how much money you do have. If you didn't buy last year's Ferrari, you're not able to buy this year's Ferrari, right? You just got to wait in line until your name gets to the front of the list, which will be no time soon. It's the way to, what is, Elon Musk says, don't sell the product, sell the waiting list, which incredible marketing genius in that, by the way. And it's the nightclub from back in the day with the line outside. So the product they can't have, right? So what do you do with that? You want to walk up and you want to, basically offer the bouncer X amount to walk right in, this type of thing. And then the product, so that would be 2, I think. And then the product they want to have, and then within their grasp, right? So just of all these things, so that is the new iPhone with the fancy camera. Okay. So that is like a possibility. It's something they can get access to. They do need to act quickly if they don't want to have to wait in line or have delays, but that's the one they can. So what did I say? So the product they're not allowed to have, the product they can't have, not available, and the product that they want to have. So I guess maybe like all these things. Think of the line outside the bar. I remember I don't even know if this is still a thing. It's been a long time since, I don't know, been a while since I've been at a nightclub. I may or may not have gone to one in Colombia. But anyways, last call. Awards at an award show, right? A driver's license, Taylor Swift tickets. I see she's in like Vancouver either now or coming or whatever, right? It's the sold out product. It's VIP access. Something like cigarettes or chewing tobacco or alcohol or drugs, right? So again, people just want to get their hands on them. Motorbikes, right? When I was a kid, I wanted to move mountains to get my hand on a motorbike, but my mom was very, for very good reason, a little nervous on my behalf that motorbike and I might have had a reasonably poor ending. It's backstage pass to meet the speaker. It's the backstage pass to meet the band back in the day. I don't even know that's still a thing. Opportunity for us, it's the opportunity to be the one on stage, right? Like when you go to like Tony Robbins, right? He does like business mastery and all these people get up and speak. Those are all his clients, right? When I say all his clients, that's an exaggeration, but not far off, right? Those are all people paying, six figures plus with the Tony Robbins. And that's, because he's got to choose who's going to go on stage. And who do you think he chooses from? He chooses from his list of clients, right? Which is totally fair and understandable. But, I think in solving problems too, so here's actually like something, hopefully I don't make a meal of this, but you want to think in terms of solving a problem for a business owner, right? So like you can teach them how to solve their own problem. You can solve their problem with them. You can solve the problem for them, or you can distract them from the problem. And I'll let you guess which one is most profitable of the four, right? But number one, teach them how to solve their own problem. That's a course, right? Solve their problem with them, right? Done with you, coaching, consulting, right? Solve the problem for them. More of like a consulting gig, getting involved, showing up and solving the problem right there, real time. And then four, distract them from their problems, right? Little, wave of the hand up above. Anyway, so that's the way I'd be thinking about it, Shoots. But, you want to build something, you want to be selling something that's desirable. Let me tell you that. You want to be filling a hole, not digging a hole. It's a powerful metaphor in the sales and business game. That's my answer, Shoots. What do you think?
I like. Speaking of marketing and philosophies here, I literally just came up the Apple marketing philosophy as written by Steve Jobs and who's this, Mike Marcula in 1977. Shoots 77.
Oh, well.
We will truly understand their needs better than any other company. In order to do a good job of those things we decide to do, we must eliminate all of the unimportant opportunities. People do judge a book by its cover. We may have the best product, the highest quality, the most useful software, etc. If we present them in a slipshod, is that how you say that, manner, they will be perceived as slipshod. If we represent them in a creative, professional manner, we will impute the desired qualities. Wow.
Ooh. Say that last sentence again. That's where all the magic is, Shoots.
If we present them, if we present them in a creative, professional manner, we will impute the desired qualities.
Absolutely. Like when you present a solution in a creative way, it's just taken more seriously. It's got a better chance of getting fulfilled with your client. So metaphors, examples, analogies, etc.
Just went to dictionary.com slipshod. That's a new one for me. Careless, untidy, or slovenly. Slipshod work. There you go, Shoots. I'm just here to educate some dictionary words for you. It's just from an ESL guy like myself. But anyways, so there you are. Hey, speaking of learning, what did Karl learn? What did the Zen thought of the week? I can't believe I didn't start the episode with that. I'm slipping.
Yeah. Shoots, what's going on? I got to tell you, lying on my deathbed, I've had a couple of Zen thoughts. Oh my God, I tell you. So here's I don't know. So I'm going to call it a quote that again, the only thing is can't quote it because I don't know it off the top of my head, but I'll do my best here. But it's common to hear of man talking about miles covered that day, but it's rare to hear them boast about what they saw that day. Does that make sense? So men boast about the miles covered, but they don't boast about the things that they saw. I think that there's some value in that. Shoots. I think you get people like a translation, 10,000 steps, 10,000 steps. I got my 15,000 steps. And that's great, by the way. That's way better than not getting your 10,000 steps. But again, you don't see them posting about, the mountain, the sunset, the sunrise, etc. I say the more seriously you take yourself, the less happy you'll be, generally speaking, right? Actually, this Shoots, you might like this, but a masculine man becomes his father, or the masculine man becomes the man his father should have beaten. And I think that there's incredible power in that. Of course, always exceptions, but yeah, anyways, a masculine man either becomes his father or becomes the person he should have been. And I think that's just like crazy, and it's like, just like, what was your father or somebody like, what do they say? Weak people seek revenge, strong people seek forgiveness, but wise people seek to ignore. And then like, I would question, like, which one was your father, right? Was your father the person seeking revenge? Was he strong and seeking forgiveness? As was your dad the guy, water off a duck's back, didn't get bothered by anything? And then I think, again, as you're reverse engineering that, thinking it through, just think through again, and it might be in the interest, it might be your husband, and it might be your son, and it might be different males in your world that you're thinking about. Incredible power in that. Notwithstanding, knowledge is power. So understanding that, I think, might give everybody, a direction. So a very, very close friend of mine passed away not long ago, Johnny T. May he rest in peace. Beautiful, beautiful human, like just the best guy. 2 kids to do. Just, oh man, sorely missed. Hundreds of people at his wedding. But anyway, so there's 3 of us, Johnny Mo, Johnny T, and myself. We were very, very close for a long, long time, like the 3 amigos. And so Johnny Mo did the eulogy, and just one of the things I send, you could imagine how painful the experience was. But I just said to Johnny Mo that, you want to become, this is Jordan Peterson, by the way, but a good game plan for your life is to become the guy who everybody relies on at a family member's funeral, and especially in a family member's sad funeral, which this was a sad one, right? Where gone too young. And then that was Johnny Mo, by the way. And that was my message to him, that he's become that guy. And so anyways, so what am I saying? That could be a good, become I don't know. I think that, the groundedness of a grandfather, all that, falls under the same umbrella. But I think, becoming that wise man to ignore, I think where this Zen thought that Shoots, you throw at me every week, which I've come uberly unprepared for some crazy reason. But you know what I mean? I think it's very, very powerful to understand. And and then the genesis of it a lot is that I'm trying to become, I'm not pretending to be the guy that ignores everything, water up a duck's back, and that stoic individual that just cruises through life just so easily, because that's not my reality, I can tell you. But I am a work in progress, and I can assure you that today versus 12 months ago versus 3 years ago versus 10 years ago, I am significantly closer and getting closer every day. So anywho, that's what I would say. Shoots, I'm going to leave you with that. That's
It was an awkward pause at the beginning. He said, "I think you're gonna like this one, a masculine man," and then you paused. I'm like, why would I like a masculine man? That's an awkward pause, Shoots.
There you go.
Hey, speaking of stoic wisdom, I'm on fire here today. I remembered the Bezos quote, and this reminded me so much of you when I saw it because what do you say? It's like if you have too many staff, you don't have a business. You run an HR firm or something like that.
Yep. Yep.
Bezos quote of if two pizzas can't feed the team, it's too big.
Nice. Yeah, I know that one. Yeah, that's good. Bezos spits out. See, Bezos will say something in a sentence. It's a bit like Warren Buffett has two rules. Like people think that's a throwaway line too, right? Like, oh yeah, ha 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 ha. No, he's dead serious, right? And I believe the number is 7 might be where Bezos felt like it hovered. But like he's like, just look, you need tight, small teams, and they become bloated teams, they become ineffective teams, and we all pay the price. So not happening.
And that's the thing, because then you start having meetings for the sake of meetings. It's funny because then I don't know where Dan Martel took it from, but Dan always says, if we have a meeting and if you feel that it's not adding any value to what job you're doing, you can get up and leave anytime.
Yeah.
I love that. Right? It's like, okay, like all of a sudden there's no one left. It's like, yeah, okay. Why are we having this meeting right now? It's pretty crazy.
Shoots. Yes, I like that.
All right. I got a question here. So one of our coaches wrote in and said, Karl, I keep hitting obstacle after obstacle. How do you overcome this? It's a good question.
That's it. Obstacle after obstacle. Well, let me give you the bad news. Overcoming obstacles translates to more obstacles are coming. So bad news.
Thanks for listening, folks.
Yeah, show's over. Drop the mic. Everybody go home. Sucks to be you, man. Sorry. Me too. Anyway, so that's it. And like everybody, like, okay, so instinctively, your client is trying to get big so that they can get rich. And that is not the way that it ends up happening. Okay. What ends up happening, so because they think that they have like a $500,000 business, and once they get to $2 million, their problems will go away. And then what happens is they grow to $2 million and they find out what? They have significantly, not a couple more problems, but significantly more problems. And why? It's a function of reality. And by the way, could you give me the anomaly? Could you give me the exception to the rule? Yeah. But we don't do that in business, right? You play percentages. Always go to the average. Don't go to the anomaly. And that's not that you can't become the anomaly. And I'm not saying, okay, don't grow a kick-ass huge business. Not what I'm saying. What I am saying, though, is to think that when you grow from $500,000 to $2 million, and believe me, they instinctively, subconsciously believe this, that their problems are going to go away, is just like, it's wholly laughable. But anyway, so, look, what's the, this is a Stoic quote that I'm going to try and spit out, but your death doesn't make your life pointless. It makes your life purposeful, right? Okay. Translation. You ever had that health scare where you're waiting for the results of the blood test, or you're waiting for the results of the blood test for a loved one? And then, by the way, they come back positive. Well, what I want you to do is pretend that they don't, pretend like that result hasn't come back, and tap into that. You know what I mean? Like all of a sudden it's like that makes your life. What Tony Robbins will say is you haven't lived until you face death. Right. And the reality of that, or the power of that, in my opinion, is huge. Right. All of a sudden you start seeing the color of the flowers, and the smell in the air of the fresh air, and the beauty of the sky, and the beauty of the clouds, and the beauty of the sun, etc. So, and you need to focus on solving problems rather than reacting to problems. I think I would say that too, right? Like it becomes it's a psychosomatic, it's a flywheel, where as you're constantly, like, you're giving something energy and it just becomes worse and blows up. It's like procrastination. And when I get this new masterclass I'm doing, and I show procrastination as a flywheel, where it just goes around and around and around. And much like a business, you understand a flywheel in a business and how Amazon gets to some insane number like $2 trillion. $2 trillion just doesn't happen without a flywheel. Well, your procrastination is the same when you don't grab a hold of it, right? So rather than focusing on the problem, you got to focus on solving the problem, right? So for every one, here's a solution. For every one problem, write down 3 solutions. Every one problem, write down 3 solutions. Suddenly what's happening is you're becoming significantly more dialed in, speaking of problems, significantly more dialed in on the solution as opposed to the problem, right? And I think maybe just, what do I want to say, like resignation, like the obstacle, I kind of started with this tongue in cheek, but not really, like obstacles are coming. So it doesn't matter if it's fair, or it's unfair, and a staff member leaves and steals your stuff and steals your IP and steals your course and steals your clients and steals your staff. Like they're coming for you, right? Guess what? Dust yourself off and keep going. Like the ultimate payback is your own success, right? So your job's just to keep your composure, not beat yourself up about it. Just keep moving towards your end goal. But I just said something very, very important. If you don't know what that end goal is, and it's not tight and it's not defined, remember, there's 2 rules of coaching. Where are you? Where do you want to go? The hardest thing you'll ever do is define that. Where do you want to go? That's the truth. I know it. Road Dogg knows it. We've mentioned it many times on the podcast. Defining what you want is like one of the hardest things you'll ever do. Guess what? Also one of the most rewarding things you'll ever do. And quite frankly, establishing your little red arrow, it's not that much easier. It's significantly easier, but it's not that easy either. So you got to set up those points. These aren't throwaway lines. These aren't kind of rules for your clients. These are rules for me, rules for Road Dogg, and rules for you, and rules for your clients, right? We all got to abide by it. It's like fitness, right? There is my diet and then the amount of exercise I do. Like that's it. And that's the same for the fattest man on the planet. It's the same for, trying to think of Dave Goggins, is that it? You know what I mean? Like, David Goggins. It's the same for, the fittest guy in the world, right? So anyway, so you just got to keep pounding. And I would just come back to overcoming obstacles means overcoming obstacles, like more obstacles are coming. That's where I started. That's where I'd finish. You don't become successful and then no longer have challenges. You become successful and have more and bigger. You want to know the value of a man, see the value of his problem. You want to see the value of a man, have a look at the size of his problems, right? And believe me, Elon Musk has got some absolutely monster freaking problems. In fact, I wrote this in an email not long ago, and then somebody tagged me on Facebook. I think it might have been Dale Gibbons. Can't remember. Sorry. But so anyway, so it's like the business coach, Elon Musk is working on colonizing Mars, right? And again, understand that Elon Musk is just, he's 6'1", whatever, you know what I mean? Like he gets this 24 hours in a day. He's got a certain amount of blood going through. Takes a certain amount of breaths per day. He's got the same amount of teeth as you. He breathes roughly the same amount, during the day. Doing a really bad job of just describing that Elon Musk and, me and you are kind of the same in many, many ways, right? Same with Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, right? They put their socks on one at a time. The difference is the man is solving massive freaking problems. So translation, and here's what I said to in an email, Elon Musk is trying to colonize Mars. And then the business coach bitches and moans at me about how difficult it is to put 10 people in a room every Tuesday at 7 a.m. And by the way, I don't say that and I don't say that in a judgmental way. Like I get it. I've been there, done that, got the postcard. But I will tell you that I was doing it. I mean, we were filling 3 a day, multiple times per week. Right. And that's not, guess what? My problems were I had problems and, we were doing all kinds of, crazy marketing here, there and everywhere. And I had boiler rooms and staff and people not showing up and headaches and dramas and follow-up campaigns and emails that didn't go out, and people not on, the guys who ran the chamber weren't there on time for the session. I mean, it was crazy. Lots of problems, right? So, and in no way am I saying, I'm doing a better job than you're doing or whatever. It's irrelevant. The bottom line is that Elon Musk is trying to colonize Mars. Very big problem. And we are trying to put 10 people in a room every 7 a.m. at the Chamber of Commerce or your choice of venue. I promise you, when you think about it from that standpoint, you kind of laugh at yourself. And that when you think that this is, really, really challenging, right? Anyway, shoot. So that's what I would. I'll leave it there, man. I don't know. Obstacle. There ain't no getting past it. The obstacles. The only bad news is you become more successful. The obstacles become bigger. The monsters become bigger. The challenges become bigger. The rewards become bigger, but also the potential hurdles, drawbacks, and penalties become bigger as well. So that's the way it is, man.
But isn't that sort of the way though, dude? Like at the end of the day, it's like as you grow as a person, the problems that you used to think were monstrous, now you look at and go, man, those are nothing, right? Like it's pretty impressive. Like I'm sure if we rewound 10 years, shit, we could go 20 years when you started this. And the problems that you thought were big then, you would probably laugh at now. So, just real quick on a quick note here, I just want to ask you when it comes to, because we always talk about, little red arrow, you are here, and then, what do you want sort of thing. And it's like, that's where you're building the gap for clients. Can maybe you talk about that just sort of as a positioning thing? Like if we're saying, look, this is what you want. And do coaches, how am I going to say this? Do coaches make the problem big enough? Like if they're saying, this is what I want, are they helping them craft that well enough to create a bigger gap to then, I guess, create more of a sense of urgency for them to act and take action?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Okay. So what you're saying is, I'm working with a client and my job is to help the client create a bigger vision for themselves and a subsequently bigger problems to solve. Is that right? And you be a really good coach by when you're helping the landscaper, helping him think bigger and creating a vision beyond just themselves and their company. What you'd be doing is building a bigger space for you as a coach to settle into, to help them grow to what they could. You're helping them create a vision bigger for themselves than they could ever create for themselves. And
can you get out of control with that though, Karl? Can you almost at times make that vision too big where it just becomes unrealistic for them?
And answers, absolutely. But I don't, if done properly. So what I do is create that monster vision. And then remember, okay, so here's the solution. You create we've talked about this for years, right? You create the 25-year vision. And then you create the 20-year vision, and then the 10-year vision, and then the 5-year vision, and then the 3-year vision, and then the 1-year vision, the 9-month vision, the 6-month vision, the 3-month vision, the 1-month vision, the 1-week vision, the 1-day vision, right? And then they all need to coalesce. They all need to, rhyme or reason into one another. And if they don't, then there's a disconnect. But you start with that massive vision. So they start to go, wow, you're right. Like I can be the person that can create, modular homes. I'm the person that can create this container. I don't know. Container community. I got no idea whatever it is. It's a construction company. It's a roofing company that's going to invent a different way of doing it, or, solar company, changing the game. But then you got to be able to bring it back to today, tactical. In fact, I literally sent out an email today that was just, what you really got to do in the first 30, 60, 90 days, strategy eats tactic for breakfast. We all know that. But in the first 30, 60, 90 days of my client, what I would generally do is get a lot more tactical than strategic, because I want to put some runs on the board. I want to put some money in bank accounts. I want to be able to prove my worth. I want to be able to give them the high 10 and say, congratulations, I'm $2,000 a month, $24,000 a year. The money's already in your bank account. I'm free for the rest of the year. Let's keep going. Let's go.
Do you think, Karl, when people are doing like the planning and stuff, like let's say as a business coach, right? They're doing their planning for 2025 as an example. It's like, okay, I'm going to grow I want to have 20 coaching clients or whatever. And then all they do is go, okay, well, now I'm going to do 5 a quarter. And then but like they're not doing the action, the tactical, the planning of it. Like, you get what I'm saying? It's sort of like a business will just have revenue goals, but have nothing behind it in terms of what the actual things they're going to do to make that revenue. I think that's probably a big
You
part.
got to build. Okay. So the value is not, I think this is Eisenhower. The value is not in the plan. It's in the planning, right? The same way that Mike Tyson says, everybody's got a plan until when? Until you get punched in the face, right? Well, the value is not in the, like, so you get in the ring and you're fighting Tyson. The only protection you got from getting punched in the face is your training, and that your training was so good that you get punched in the face. You just got to be able to maneuver your, you know what I mean? Get your bearings again and get back to the plan. But because you were the one that built the plan, you're going to be able to adjust the plan on the fly. But if you get this is where somebody else, buying a plan from somebody else could be a pretty bad idea, because if the value being in the planning, that's where profit acceleration software, it's all built around, Q&A process with the client. So the client's always got ownership over it, which I believe to be very, very important. Right. So you get what I mean though, right? So the value is not in the plan. The value is in the planning. So then when you get punched in the mouth, you can fall back on it and adjust on the fly.
You think too many people get stuck on their plan as well? They don't pivot.
Not flexible enough. Yeah, exactly. You got to be dog. So what I would say to that is be dog. If you created the right destination, remember, little red arrow, you are here. And then, target of where you're trying to get to. If you do step 2 properly, it doesn't matter what happens on the line in between. So just look, your GPS, you're going from LA to New York. You're driving along and all of a sudden there's a forest fire. There's a massive accident. There's a mudslide. There's whatever. What do you got to do? You got to take a detour. And sometimes that detour can take you 2 hours out of your way and all the way back. But because you know your destination, you get back on track, right? It's still that metaphor of the plane flying from LA to New York. When you're flying, the flight is literally off course 95% of the time. The pilot's job is just bring it back, 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 right? Because of wind and all different the wind and whatever else, right? So think about your business. Your business is going to be off track 95% of the time. Your job is just to get it back, get it back, get it back. But if you know where your destination is, honest to goodness, I don't want to sound trite here, but it kind of becomes remarkably easy. But no one ever freaking does it, right? No one ever creates the I'm here and then I'm going to get here. Like, they don't create the Uber. Uber built like a 250, whatever. I have no idea what Uber's valued at nowadays, right? But let's call it hundreds of billions of dollars. They did that off of 2 points. 1, where are you at? 2, where do you want to get to? Value of that is insane. You got to do the same damn thing with your business and your client's business. And it kind of becomes easy because you know where the hell you're going. And then you got to just agree to pay the price to do what you got to do to get there, which, by the way, is more about things you say no to than things you're saying yes to, right? So people think about focus. The real secret of focused, the real magic of being focused is eliminating distractions versus really dialing in on the thing, right? But by dialing in on the thing, it allows you to know which to say no to. Huge value in that.
How am I doing? Yeah, good. I think we're going to wrap here. I just wanted to drop a little nugget. I know, we don't like to timestamp things too much, but it is the end of the year, getting there. And something that I was listening to a podcast, and they talked about I'm not sure if you're on Spotify, Shoots, but Spotify, I'm not, but apparently they do this thing every year where it's Spotify Wrapped. Have you heard of this?
No.
So what they do is they do basically it's just a recap of your year of listening. Here's what you listened to. Here's how many podcasts you. Here's your most listened to songs. Here's your all that stuff, right? It's just a recap. And they said like people are using that. Like imagine you as a business coach could recap with your clients their highlights of the year, the number of coaching sessions you had with them, the amount of additional revenue that you helped them do, all this stuff. And then you can even take that and now use it as marketing and go on average, or to the listeners, we could do this for our podcast Shoots where it's like, hey, you listen to, 36 episodes. Here's 2 that you missed that people loved and just stuff like that. So what are you doing in terms of a recap for your clients? And how can you implement that in your business? When I heard that, I was like, man, that is freaking genius because it's personalized and just a beautiful thing. So
Look, I like it. And just think of, so I'm doing a master class. Anyways, as part of it, so I use Bachelor and Bachelorette as the example, right? But like a really good way. How do they start every episode? And that is a recap of last week. And then how do they end every episode with a bit of a roll of what's to come, right? Well, guess what a really good way to start your coaching call is? And guess what a really great way to end the coaching call with? Keep some, it works for a bachelor and bachelorette nation might work.
Well, you know what, folks? You show me another podcast where they're teaching you business lessons from the Bachelor and Bachelorette. Okay, I'll wait. Anyways, oh my God, you want to close us out with the one thing? I have a feeling I know exactly what it is, but that somebody can take from today's episode and start implementing to their business right away.
It's got it. Well, I don't know what you're thinking, but the overcoming, somebody wants to overcome obstacles and kind of get away from them. It's like, here's the reward for good work is more work, as they say. The reward for overcoming obstacles is more obstacles. And then the little X there, bigger obstacles, more meaningful obstacles with, bigger potential penalties, but also bigger rewards. So, but that's just life. If you don't have problems, you're dead. So you just got to embrace it, right? You just got to embrace it. So yeah, that's my one thing. Shoots.
I guess based this piggybacking off your one thing, then if you're out and you're planning your 2025 in terms of what you want to achieve in your coaching business next year, are you also factoring in the obstacles that you need to overcome to achieve those? And then I would challenge everyone to go, who is the person that I need to become? Those are no longer obstacles. They're just little things in the path. I think that would be a good way to view that. So there are, folks. So obstacles never end. But listen, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Listening to Karl Koff and the Business Coaching Secrets podcast. Here's hoping he's on the mend, folks. That's keep him in your thoughts this week, as I'm sure Robitussin is going to do a good job for you as well, Shoots. Hey, listen, guys, if you're not on the inside and you're not getting access to the pre-show, or you aren't getting Karl's daily emails, or just want more information on how to build, grow, and scale your coaching company, visit focused.com and subscribe today. Also, if you enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe, and also share with a fellow coach, as we're trying to make our impact on as many coaches as possible. And while you're at it, please feel free to leave us a review. That is it for another week. We will see you all in the next episode. And remember, folks, progress equals happiness. Take care, everybody.
Karl Bryan built Profit Acceleration Software 2.0. So as a business coach, you'll never again have to worry about working with business owners that can't afford your high-end coaching fees. Check us out at focused.com.